autistic people, I have been frequently mocked or admonished for the size and complexity of my working vocabulary.
Hi Erika, I love you. Let's talk about pedantic language. Seeing a person use very formal language or language that is very strict in grammatical rules is seen as a way to diagnose someone as autistic. Not the only way, but in the DSM-5, using pedantic language like this is a way to characterize them. But the core meaning of pedantic implies that that person is not being authentically themselves, but they're trying to kind of show off in a way. And this could not be further from the truth for our autistic friends. Erika does a fantastic job of explaining how communication choices, the language we choose to use, is a way to show off where we are in this hidden hierarchy of status. So why is it that our neurodivergent friends who could care less about this hierarchy most of the time choose to use vocabulary that might be seen as pompous? This is a section from a visual that I like to use to help exemplify to my clients why we choose the language that we do. Okay, so for neurotypical people, they will stop in their memory reserves. In this visual, I like to depict it as a gas station, and they'll fuel up on their memories of what is socially acceptable to say. This goes into the whole idea of the hierarchy. They're going to choose a word that fits the situation based on this status and based on the situation at hand. So I, most of the time, am talking with non-speaking people. Of course, I'm going to try to keep my language pretty simple and animated and interesting to them. I'm not going to use bigger vocabulary words. But for some autistic people, their memory gas station fuels up with personal memories, gestalt phrases, what is fun for them to say, and that is why they choose these words that are most fitting to them in the situation, and they're not really considering always who is around them and who is listening. Erika does a wonderful job of explaining that of course we should be accommodating to those who might have intellectual disabilities or non-speaking people or whatever the case. So it is good to be aware and to pick and choose words sometimes, but most of the time people should not be offended by the language that you use, especially if they are able to understand what you're saying and you're getting your point across. But this process of getting to your memories to fuel up on what you're going to say before you say it is automatic. It is built in. So when you're asking an autistic person not to listen to their memory banks, you're asking them to take a step back and think about it and take them out of the neural pathway that they were going, then that can cause major disruptions in their speech. So you're stopping their natural flow of speech at the memory gas station and you say, stop! Of course that's going to cause disfluencies. Of course that's going to cause anxiety. And it is so based in these social concepts that a lot of autistic people don't see or care about. It's so funny because I have such a personal example that I still remember to this day that I have shame about for some reason. I remember I was at a soccer tournament and we were sleeping over with my team, and I was on a new team. I wasn't quite comfortable with the girls yet. And one of the team members said, "Morning." And I said, "Good morning." And they laughed at me. It was the fact that I said the full phrase, the "good morning." It sounded too formal, and I guess that was funny. So Erika goes on to talk about the synaptic pruning and that neurotypical people tend to have more synaptic pruning, which is a great point. Perhaps our bigger vocabulary has been pruned and we just stick to the very basic, common, get our words across phrases or words. But honestly, I think it is mostly to do with the social hierarchy, and that is more of the reason why we tend to not use bigger words, to not offend people, which is so ridiculous. So in conclusion, I think it has a lot to do with autistic people's strong episodic memories and their ability to categorize this language. Oh, I learned this long, fancy word that fits this situation so perfectly. Of course I'm gonna use it. It makes me happy, it fits, and it's fun. And that's a very automatic process. You're not being asked to stop and think and cause disfluency or cause anxiety. Something that I love that she brought up was how this leads to masking. If we're asking people again to cut off that neural pathway, you're causing anxiety and you're causing people to choose something that is not authentic to them. And now that I'm thinking about it, wouldn't that be more pedantic to ask them to change how they're speaking to fit in to your social rules that aren't even real? It certainly would be less authentic. Communication is so deeply personal. How our brains are wired is so deeply personal. So as always, remember to meet people where they are, not where you or others expect them to be.